start video. Okay, there we go. So we are gonna start this morning in child's pose. So come on to your mats, take those knees nice and wide out to the edge of the mat. If your lower back's giving you some issues, maybe pull them in a little bit. We also have our bolsters that you can use as a prop. If you'd like to pull that bolster in snug between the knees and allow the upper body to lay down over that bolster for a more supported child's pose, please feel free to do that. Finding a place where we can settle in comfortably. So I'm going to give you a minute or two here to really relax into this place, into this pose, kind of tune into your breathing, allow your mind to settle. And then I'm going to kind of talk at you for a second for a little bit of a meditation. So as we're settling into this child's pose, something that occurred to me this morning as I was letting my dogs out into the backyard, I was looking at the puddles on my patio and up at the gray sky through the trees, and it made me think of the storms that we have faced so far this year. And not just rainstorms, and there have been plenty of those, but physical storms, literal storms, emotional storms, cultural storms, and it made me think about how we view those storms. And it encouraged me to choose these storms as a visual for clearing the way, washing away the old, creating a new space for us to move forward in. And in choosing that, choosing to create new pathways and new journeys that allow me to do the next right step or the next right thing. And I'm not even sure what that looks like for me right now, and so I would never presume to know what it looks like for you. So I invite you over the next minute or two as we hold this child's pose, this place of comfort and restoration, to think about what that next right step might look for you. If we use whatever storm has happened or has impacted you deeply, and there are a couple to choose from this year, use that storm as a fresh slate, as a clean start. And think about what your next right step is. And again, I'll give you a couple moments here to reflect on that. The next right thing, the next right step. Let's take 3 more deep, steady breaths in this reflection in child's pose. On your next inhale, let's begin to walk ourselves back up. If you use your bolster for support, let's just slide it over to the side. And we'll rise up into a tabletop position, hands and knees, stacking our shoulders over our wrists, hips over knees. Now let's flex the feet, pull the toes in towards the shins, lift the tops of the feet off the mat, and begin to make some circles with those toes. Working out maybe some stiffness in the ankles from sitting on the heels in that child's pose. If you have not already, let's switch direction, move another direction in those circles. Maybe your toes move in the same direction, maybe they're moving in opposite directions. Now let's allow the tops of the feet to rest back onto the mat. Let's move up into the spine, finding some cat-cow. So on the inhale, we'll drop this belly towards the earth, shine the heart through the upper arms, lift. Don't crank your neck up to the ceiling, just looking at the top of your mat. Exhale, push the earth away, pull the belly button in to lift the spine. Let's run through a couple rounds of this, moving with your breath at your pace. One more round. And then we'll meet in stillness in a neutral spine. Let's tuck the toes behind us. If you've got your blanket handy, pull it in close. We're going to walk our hands back towards our knees, roll onto our feet, and lift the stand. We'll come into a standing position. Let's take that blanket with us. So we're going to grab that blanket as we stand up nice and tall with the blanket in front of us. Plant the feet, all 4 corners of the feet pressing into the mat, grounding down, feeling a very firm foundation here. I know we don't stand up very often in long, slow, deep. You're like, what are we doing here? It's okay, we're fine. So with this blanket, what we're going to do is we're going to tuck it right into our hip creases. Now you can roll this blanket as much as you want. If you want a really fat support, just roll it up into a nice roll. If you don't feel like you need as much here, you can unfold it. It doesn't matter if it hangs long to your knees. So wherever you feel like you are going to be comfortable. We're going to tuck that into our hip creases. Pull the low belly in, and we're going to swan dive forward into a forward fold. Allow the knees to bend, and as you bend, that hinge, that crease is going to close over the blanket, holding it in place so that you can drop your arms. Now, I have a good bend in my knees here, protecting my low back and my hamstrings as they wake up. If you are completely straight-legged, good for you. If you got a big old bend like this, that's also fine. Finding a place where you're comfortable. If your hands reach the mat, allow them to rest gently. Let's inhale, take a halfway lift, straighten the spine, and then exhale, we're going to curl over, allowing the head to curl down towards the knees. You can remain here with your hands on the mat, or if you'd like to find a ragdoll, just to give a little bit more traction on that spine. Now the blanket is held in place with your thighs and your belly, so relax the spine. You don't need that back to hold the blanket in place. Feel your head hang heavy towards the earth. Release any tension that you're holding onto. Legs are active, upper body is relaxed. Breathe here. Now, if at any point during this posture you start to get a little lightheaded or feel dizzy, please drop your hands to the mat, squat down, slowly allowing the head to come above the heart. Breathe normally for a couple breaths. If you feel the sensation pass, you're welcome to join us back in the forward fold, or you can remain in that squat. Your body is more important here than my instructions, so listen to what your body is telling you here. If you're counting your breaths, we'll probably be here for about 15 to 20 breaths. If you'd like to just not worry about that, I will take care of the counting for you. Always keeping in mind the sensation that you're feeling in your body. If this gets to be too intense, fine, give yourself a little break and then rejoin us. This is not a class about suffering in silence. There is a level of discomfort that's okay, but it has to be something that you can relax into and breathe through. If it's too much, take an adjustment, maybe bend the knees a little further, maybe come out of the posture for a moment. All right, halfway point, assess, adjust as you need to, and then settle in for the second half. Three more breaths here. Let's make this last breath your biggest, deepest inhale yet. Exhale, sigh it out. Release any bind you have. Let's take a halfway lift and lengthen, allowing the blanket to fall down to the mat. Exhale, fold. One more time. Inhale, halfway lift and lengthen. Exhale, fold. Let's bend the knees deep enough to place the hands on the mat. Come down into a toe squat for just a moment. We'll walk the hands behind us, coming down to our bums. Take a second here. That was a lot of upside down. So make sure that you are not feeling lightheaded. Sit in stillness and breathe for a moment if you are. Otherwise, we're going to walk the hands back behind us. Take the feet out nice and wide. Big, wide, bent knee posture here. And we're going to find some windshield wiper. Dropping both knees to the right side. Up through center. Dropping them to the left. Move slowly. Allow the legs to release any energy that we have created in that long forward fold. right, the next time that your knees drop over to the right, let's allow them to stay there. We're gonna walk ourselves forward so we're sitting up in a deer pose. So both of your knees are pointed over to the right side of your mat. Let's see if we can get that right shin a little bit parallel with the right side of your mat, even if it's off onto the carpet or whatever the floor is. And we're turning towards that right knee, so we're facing the right side of our mat. So let's grab that bolster, keep that handy. We're gonna sit up nice and tall in this deer and just breathe into it's a contraction on the left hip. So we're gonna breathe into that left hip. 3 deep breaths here. Sit up nice and tall, so big inhale. Exhale, breathing deep into that left hip. I feel this really strongly in the outside of this left hip, so that's where I'm sending my breath. One more big breath. From here, we're gonna walk ourselves forward, bringing the torso over the right knee. So it's almost like a pigeon exercise without the back leg pigeon. So allowing the upper body to fold down over that right knee. You have your bolster here for support. If you don't need the bolster, of course, you can just roll it out of the way. So we're pressing that left knee into the mat, finding length in the spine here as we bend over the right leg. Take a deep breath in here, shine your heart forward, and then on your exhale, release down, relax over that leg. Bring your forehead down, maybe it stacks on your hands or on the bolster, finding a place where you can rest comfortably. Sending the breath to the outside of that right hip. At our halfway point, check in with your body. Check in with the sensation. Is it getting too intense? Do we need to pull out? Has the sensation lessened? Can you deepen your posture? Let's make your next breath a big, deep sigh on the inhale and the exhale. Begin to push yourself upright. If you haven't been using that bolster, let's grab it. If you have, we're going to take it back behind us. And so the short edge of your bolster is going to come up against your right hip. So I don't know if you can kind of see it's behind me. I'm not sure how to describe this. We're facing the right, the bolster is to the back. So we're gonna sit up nice and tall here and begin to slowly twist our upper body back towards that bolster, bringing the chest down to rest on the bolster. So we've got a deep twist going here in the upper body. That's gonna pull your left knee towards you a little bit. Allow the arms to relax wherever they feel good. Now you can deepen this twist by looking over your, my right shoulder, or your right shoulder. But again, check in with your body. Don't force this twist. Allow it to be a place where you can relax. Feel that extension all the way from the left knee up through the left hip, and then the twist in the torso. Let's take 3 more breaths here in this twist. Your next inhale, we'll begin to press ourselves up, walking ourselves back around towards the right knee, coming back to the front, pulling both knees up towards the ceiling, hands come behind us, maybe slide that bolster out of your way if it's in the way, and we'll come back to that windshield wiper. Big wide knees here, feet outside the edges of your mat, gently dropping the knees to the right and the left. And then the next time your knees drop to the left, we'll let them rest there, walk ourselves up, finding ourselves in that deer position. Again, check in with the positioning of the left shin, see if we can make that maybe a little bit parallel to the edge of your mat. Reach back and grab that bolster if you need it. We're gonna hinge forward over this left knee this time. So right knee is facing the top of your mat, where upper body and left knee are to the left. Walking ourselves down over that left knee. Again, using the bolster if you need it. Settling into a place where you can breathe comfortably, sending the breath to the outside of that left hip. Thinking about maybe trying to avoid the fidgets in this posture. If you're fidgeting a lot, that might be your body signal that this is a little too much. Might be time to lift up just a smidge to take yourself out of that place of pent up energy. Maybe bring the mind back to something steady. Maybe thinking again about that next right step for you. Two more breaths here. On your last exhale, open the mouth, sigh it out. Begin to push yourself back up, rising up over that left knee. I forgot to breathe into that right hip, so we're gonna sit up nice and tall here, facing that left knee, and take 3 deep breaths into that right hip. One more breath. All right, let's grab onto that bolster again. We're gonna bring it behind us, this time bringing the short end of your bolster so that it is parallel to or right up against the left hip. We'll turn away from the front of our mat towards the bolster, lowering the upper body down onto the bolster. Now resist the urge to pull that right knee with you as you make this twist. Try to keep that coming straight out from the body towards the top of your mat as you twist into this posture. Lowering the upper body down, again, resting on the bolster. The head can be turned towards the right shoulder. That is my right shoulder. Y'all, this is messing up my rights and lefts here. Even in my own body, I can't tell where I am. You can turn the head towards the right shoulder, or you can deepen the twist by looking over the left shoulder. I know it's hard to take deep breaths in a twist, but try to use that belly to pull the air in even though we're in a twist. Release any tension that you're holding in your shoulders. And on every exhale, sink deeper into this twist. One more breath here. Begin to push yourself back up. Slowly turning towards the left knee and then around towards the front. Bring both knees up through center. I invite you to find a few more windshield wipers here. Again, releasing any energy that may have been created, holding that twist, that deer twist. Finding stillness with both knees pointed towards the ceiling, we're going to sit up nice and tall. Wrap our elbows around our knees. Link our fingers in front of us and just allow our head to rest down in our hands for a moment. And it may be that you have to raise your hands to get them to the forehead, and that's okay. Breathe here. Feeling a gentle stretch up the back, into the shoulders, the back of the neck. Two more breaths here. Your next inhale, lift your head, unclasp the hands. We'll move into our next place, which will be a heart opener to counteract these forward folds. So with that bolster still behind you, we'll turn to the side this time. We're gonna pull it so that it is about 5 fingers width away from your sacrum, from your hip bones in the back here, from your low back. Make sure that it is running parallel alongside your spine, and we'll gently roll ourselves down for a supported fish. Now the arms can be down by your side, or they can be any degree of positioning between that and raising above your head. So the higher your arms go up, shoulder and above, is going to be more intense of a stretch across the chest. So finding a place where you can feel a gentle stretch. We want to keep that sensation manageable. Feel the shoulder blades gently come together, resting the spine on the bolster, heart opening. Breathe deeply into the low back, deep into the chest. Three more breaths here. With each inhale, pulling in the possible, the new. With each exhale, letting go of the old. On your next inhale, let's gently roll ourselves off the bolster to one side or the other, your favorite sleeping side maybe. And just pause here for a moment. And we'll begin to push ourselves up, coming into a comfortable seat. From here, we'll begin to move a little bit more freely through our practice. Let's begin by sweeping the arms up on a big inhale. Palms meet, exhale, pull them down through heart center. One more time, sweep the hands up. Palms touch, exhale, pull them down through heart center. Let's find ourselves coming back into a tabletop position. I'm going to kick my bolster out of the way because we are done with that for right now. Let's take it 3 rounds of cat-cow here. Again, coming into that spine, loosening, bringing some movement in. Toes can be flexed or feet can be flat on the mat, your choice. Let's find stillness in this tabletop. Let's walk our hands length forward on top of the shoulders. Tuck the toes, lift the hips up and back, coming into a down dog just for a moment. Pull that belly in, press the earth away with your hands. Come up high on the tippy toes, and then exhale, drop the heels towards the mat. Inhale, come up high on the tippy toes, waking up those hamstrings again. Exhale, drop the heels. One more time, inhale high up on the tippy toes. Exhale, press the heels towards the mat. Let's look up at our thumbs. We're gonna walk our feet forward to meet our hands, finding a forward fold at the top of the mat. We won't be here nearly as long as the last one, I promise. Inhale, halfway lift and lengthen. Flat back, pull shoulder blades back along the spine. Exhale, fold. Take a deep bend in the knees, sweep the arms up overhead, tall mountain, palms touch, and exhale, pull them down through heart center. Pause here for a moment. Feel the energy pull up from the earth into the body, feet planted firmly on the mat, quads engaged, hips pressing forward, low belly pulled in, shoulder blades down and back on the spine. Lift the head tall. Who knew standing in one spot could be so much work, right? Breathe into that energy. On your next inhale, let's sweep the hands up overhead. Exhale, we're going to empty out, swan dive into a forward fold, bending the knees as you need. Inhale, halfway lift and lengthen, palms to the thighs or the shins. Exhale, fold. Bend the knees enough to plant the hands on the mat. We're going to send that right leg back behind us. Drop the knee down, untuck the right toes. Check in with this left leg. Make sure we have our knees stacked over our shin. Pause here in this low runner's lunge for just a moment. Feel that stretch up the front of the right hip. Now, grounding down into our foundation here, we're going to start to walk our hands up to our thighs. If you feel steady and comfortable, feel free to bring your hands to heart center or reach them overhead. If you've taken your support off the thigh, your hands off the thighs, make sure you're pulling that low belly in to support the upper body. Again, shoulders pulled back against the spine, reaching up tall, lifting long, pulling the inner thighs together, holding strong. On your exhale, let's sweep the hands down to frame the left foot. We're going to walk the hands back towards the knees, straighten the left leg, splits prep on this side, easy for me to say. Pull those left toes back towards your shin. And again, this left leg does not need to be locked out straight. I actually feel a better stretch in my hamstring when there's a gentle bend in my knee. It activates this upper hamstring. Let's walk the hands forward to frame the left foot, bend into the left knee. We're going to come up on the right toes, step forward into a forward fold. Exhale deeply into this forward fold. Curl your nose towards your knees. Inhale, halfway lift and lengthen. Exhale, fold. Deep bend in the knees. On your inhale, we'll rise up, return to that tall mountain. Bring the palms to meet. Exhale, hands down through heart center. Pause here for a breath. Collect yourself. Find that energy. Your next inhale sweeps your hands up overhead. Exhale, we're going to swan dive back into our forward fold. Moving slowly and intentionally. Inhale, halfway lift and lengthen. Exhale, fold. Bend the knees enough to plant the hands on the mat. We'll send that left leg back behind us. Left knee drops, left toes uncurl. Check in with that right shin. Make sure we have alignment here. I have to scooch my foot a little bit forward. And then lean in deeply into this lunge. Feel the opening of the left hip flexor. From here, we're going to walk our hands up to our thighs. Again, finding that same progression. Find a point on the wall in front of you to stare at, something that's not moving for balance. Hands can remain on the thigh, or you can bring them to heart center or overhead. And use that low belly for support. Pull the hips level, so pull that right hip back and the left hip forward as you relax into this lunge. Breathe here. On your exhale, let's bring the hands down to frame the right foot. Walk them back towards the left leg, straightening the right leg, finding that split prep here. Again, pull those right toes back towards the shin. Also pull the right hip back, level with the left. Reach the head for the toes, long spine here. Let's walk the hands back to frame the right foot, lunge into the right leg, come up on the left toes, step forward into your forward fold. Exhale here. Inhale, halfway lift and lengthen. Exhale, fold, plant the hands on the mat. Take a deep bend in the knees and roll up onto your toes. We're gonna find our toe balance here. Let me make sure I'm here in the picture. So coming up high on the toes, think about lifting the heels over the toe mounds. Again, find that point of balance, a little balance work here in our slow, deep class. Throwing you all sorts of loops today, aren't I? Looking forward. Fingertips can be on the floor. You can also, if you have your bolster here, use that either in front of you or behind you as a little balance. If you'd like a little assist, you can use that there. If you feel comfortable in your balance, bringing the hands to the knees. Think about being high up on those toes. Pull the low belly in, pull everything in towards center, knees pressed together. One more breath. Every time I talk, I start to bubble. And we'll release those hands to the earth, bring the knees down. We're gonna untuck the toes, sitting back on the heels. Let's find that blanket. Where did that thing go? All right, so with this blanket, we're gonna do a little compression work on our calves, a little almost myofascial release on our calves. So find that blanket, we're gonna roll it up. Now the tighter the roll, the harder, the more intense the pressure. So keeping that in mind, finding a roll that works for you. We're gonna come up onto our knees and place that blanket right behind the knees, kind of work it in there, and then sit back onto that blanket. So again, the tighter the roll, the more intense the sensation. If you have, well, this is something, of course I'm not gonna have you go get it right now. You could also use a rolled up mat, you could use a roll bar, something that you, the harder the substance, the more intense the stretch as well. So we should be feeling some good pressure on the calves and maybe even into the hamstrings as we sit back on this blanket. Now if this is causing pressure in your knees, please come up out of this and just find yourself in a tabletop, do some cat cows, and we'll meet up with you in just a moment. So with this blanket folded behind the knees, sitting up nice and tall, coming back to the steady breath. Breathe relaxation into your calves. Allow them to feel a softness against the blanket. So that pressure of the blanket may feel hard, but we're softening the calf underneath. Two more breaths. Let's come up off of that blanket, rolling forward, pull the blanket out of the way and to the side. Swing the legs around to one side, come onto the bum. So we're bringing the legs in front of us, sitting back on the bum. Oh my God, my toy's all in the way here. So with both of those knees in front of us, we're gonna extend our left leg long, pull the right knee into the chest, place the right foot on the outside of the left thigh, Sitting up nice and tall here. Let's inhale that right arm up to the ceiling. Exhale, we're gonna twist to our right, bringing the right hand behind us. Use that left hand to wrap around the knee, either the front or the back. It is a support for your twist, not a torque. So we're not pulling ourselves into this twist using our left arm. So support yourself with that left arm, sitting nice and tall. Take a quick second, glance down at your hips. Make sure we're not turning that right hip back towards the back of your mat. We're gonna pull that right hip forward so it's equal with the left hip. The twist is coming from the torso, from the belly. So right hip tracks forward, right rib tracks back. If you have the space in your neck, you can look over that right shoulder. For some reason, rights or lefts are easier in this one than it was in that deer pose. I know which shoulder this is. So we've been in a twist before. This one is a little less intense with the pressure, without the pressure of the bolster. We can think about it as wringing it out, wringing out the old, making room for the new. Two more breaths here. Your next exhale, let's turn the head back towards center. Allow the body to follow. Unwind the legs, take the right leg out to meet the left, both legs straight in front of us. Relax those feet, allow them just to hang out wherever they want to go. If they flop out or they flop in, we're gonna sit up tall and then reach our nose for those toes. Nice, keeping the arms nice and straight to encourage the spine to stay straight. Active stretch here. And then we're gonna move through some cat-cow movements in this forward fold. So on your inhale, pull your head and chest toward your toes. Exhale, round down, allow your nose to track to your knees. Inhale, lift, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, fold. Let's do this about 3 more times, moving with your breath. Feeling that softening with every exhale. Lengthening the upper body down towards the shins. Last round. On your exhale, hold in that rounded cat spine. Your next inhale, begin to walk yourself back up. Walk the hands behind you, give those knees a little bounce. Bounce, bounce, bounce. Shake out some of that stopped up energy. And then we're gonna pull the left knee into the chest, leaving the right leg extended. Place that left foot to the outside of the right thigh. Sit up nice and tall. Inhale that left arm up. We'll exhale it down behind you, making that twist come from the torso. Again, check in with that left hip. Pull it forward. Right arm supports your stretch, doesn't force it. Look back over that left shoulder if you have the space. Breathe as deeply as you can into this twisted up belly. One last big breath here. Your next exhale, we'll turn the head back towards center. Inhale, allow the body to follow, reaching up nice and tall. We're gonna bring both knees to bend here. Reach around behind the thighs and slowly roll ourselves back down to our mat, spines to the mat. With those knees bent to the ceiling, let's bring the right leg crossing over the left, so right ankle rests just above the left knee. Flex the right foot. We're going to push the right knee away from us. Exhale, release the pressure on the right knee. Inhale, push the knee away from us. Exhale, release. One more time. Inhale, push the right knee away. Exhale, release. Let's reach our arms through the little window we've made here between our legs. Grab onto the back of that left thigh. Pull both those legs in nice and tight for reclined pigeon. Again, send the breath to the outside of that right hip. Finding another twist here. Release the hands, keeping the legs as they are. We're going to drop the right foot and the outside of the left knee over to the left side. The right arm comes out extended perpendicular to the body. Look over that right shoulder if you have the space. Gentle twist. Your next inhale, let's pull those legs back up to center. Untwist them, hold both knees into the chest. Maybe give a little roll through the knees, working out that low back. Gentle massage, moving one direction then the other. And then we'll drop that right foot to the mat, bring the left ankle to cross over the right knee. Placing the left hand on the left knee, we're gonna press that knee away from us. Exhale, release that pressure. Inhale, press the knee away. Exhale, release. One last time, press the knee away. And then release. So from there, we'll reach through, grab onto the back of that right thigh, pulling the legs in towards the chest, finding our reclined pigeon here. Sending the breath to the left hip. One more breath. And on your exhale, we'll release the hands, drop the left foot and the outside of the right knee over to the right side of the mat. Left shoulder stays grounded. Reach that left arm out long. Look over to the left fingertips. Next inhale, let's pull those knees back in towards center. Untwist the legs, hug the knees in nice and close. We're going to find a gentle flow between happy baby and a bridge pose here to complete our class. So pull those knees wide out towards the armpits, reach through the shins, grab the outer blades of the feet, pull the feet up towards the ceiling, knees down into the armpits. Take a breath here. We'll release this happy baby, bringing the feet towards the mat, hands down by the sides, press into the heels, lift the hips up towards the ceiling. Exhale, lower the hips back down, pull the knees in towards the chest. Reach through, grab the outer blades of the feet, pull the knees down, feet up, happy baby. Release the happy baby, feet come and hands come back to the mat. Press through the heels, lifting the hips into bridge. Exhale the hips down, pull the knees into the chest. Reach through, grab the feet, happy baby. Last time through. Exhale, release the feet, hands back to the mat. Press into the heels, lift the hips, bridge. Exhale, lower down, pull the knees into the chest. Reach through, grab the feet, happy baby. Rest in this happy baby. Press the entirety of the spine into the mat, sacrum to the back of the head. If you have access to your toes, maybe work your thumbs in between the toes. Give yourself a nice little foot massage. Take one final deep breath here in this happy baby. Then release it. Pull those knees back in towards the chest. Hug them in nice and tight. Lift the eye sockets up to the knees. Squeeze into a tiny little ball. Take a little inhale here. And on your exhale, let everything go out long as we move into Shavasana. Legs out long, arms down by the side, stretching out. Take a deep breath here. Exhale, and on that big sigh, feel everything melt into the mat. We'll rest here for a few moments, giving the body an opportunity to relax, recover, adjust, and accept. Find peace in your mind and body in Shavasana. Let's bring our awareness back to our breathing. Allowing the body to still remain restful and still. Revel in the sensation of your inhale and exhale. For your next few inhales, begin to imagine pulling energy into the body, a gentle awakening as you fill yourself with movement. On your next inhale, let's sweep our arms up overhead, reaching our fingertips away from our toes, taking up as much space as you can, getting long and stretchy. And then release the stretch, allow the hands to just rest overhead, the feet to flop out. Take a breath here. And from here, we'll roll over onto our favorite sleeping side. Pause for a breath. And then we'll push ourselves up to a comfortable seated position. We'll meet with our hands at heart center, eyes closed if that feels comfortable. Let's take a final deep breath together. Collective inhale. Pause at the top of the breath. Exhale, sigh everything out. It was an honor to guide you through your practice today. Thank you for joining me from wherever you were. Let's bring your thumb knuckles to your forehead. The light in me sees, honors, and appreciates the light that you shine brightly into your life and the life of those around you. Your presence is always a gift. Let's open our eyes, acknowledge our fellow yogis. Namaste. Namaste, friends.